They say families are built on love, but I've learned some are built on silence. Strategic, suffocating silence. My name is Rowena Vale, and for most of my adult life, I played the role of the dependable daughter. The one who always picked up the phone, paid the bill, canceled her plans to solve someone else's crisis. I was the glue. At least, that's what they liked to call me when they wanted something. It was a Tuesday morning, rain on the windows, coffee gone cold, and a pile of invoices blinking on my laptop screen. I wasn't expecting my sister Sierra to barge into my apartment uninvited, designer tote in hand, fake smiling like we were best friends. "Ro, my charger died. Can I use yours?" She chirped, dropping her iPad onto my coffee table like it was nothing. "Sure," I mumbled, too tired to argue. She stepped out to take a call. That's when I saw it, her iPad still lit, unlocked, glowing with a group chat notification. "Fam, Sierra. Rowena's too dumb to notice she's our wallet anyway, lol." I froze. My name. My sister's words. The chat was still open. I didn't mean to look further. But the moment I tapped that banner, I stopped being the family's doormat and started becoming something they never saw coming. The chat was still open. I could see everything. The names, the icons, the stream of messages that made my stomach knot so tightly I thought I might throw up. "Just keep calling her amazing. She'll pay your rent forever." That was from Sierra. "She thinks she's helping out of love. Let her." My father. My actual father. "It's not like she has a real life anyway. No husband, no kids. She needs us." That was from Callie, my cousin, who used to cry on my shoulder after her second divorce. Useful AF. My mother. She'd sent that with a smiley face. I couldn't breathe. I sat there staring, scrolling slowly, rereading everything. It wasn't just one bad joke. It was a pattern, an ecosystem, a coordinated performance built around using me and ridiculing me for letting them. I took screenshots, every message, every emoji. My hands were trembling, but my mind was crystal clear. I wasn't going to confront anyone, not yet. That's what they expected, for me to cry, for me to beg, for me to ask why they'd say such things. I didn't. I set the iPad down exactly as it had been and got up to make another pot of coffee. When Sierra came back inside, laughing on the phone with some boyfriend I'd probably helped fund in one way or another, I nodded at her like nothing had happened. She didn't notice. Of course she didn't. People who feed off you rarely stop to ask if you're bleeding. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, playing those lines in my head like a sick playlist. Not just what they said, but how easily they said it, how casual the cruelty was, as if it were normal, as if I were just the dumb, dutiful sister who existed to clean up everyone else's messes. And the worst part? They weren't wrong, not completely. I had paid the bills. I had covered Sierra's credit card when she accidentally overdrew. I had wired money to Mom for her medical copay and didn't ask questions when the receipts showed luxury salon charges. I'd sent checks to Dad when his pension got messed up. Never mind the fact that he still managed to play poker every Thursday night. I fed the system that mocked me. But that morning, that chat, it flipped a switch. Not rage, not even heartbreak. Just a kind of quiet certainty I hadn't felt in years. They thought they had me figured out. The dependable one, the giver, the fool with a bleeding heart and a decent paycheck. Let them keep thinking that, for now. One more dinner, one more round of fake gratitude and FaceTime calls where they said things like, "We're so proud of you," while texting each other behind my back. Let them keep thinking the doormat's still lying down, because tomorrow they'd find out she'd been standing this whole time. The next day I made dinner. Roasted chicken, lemon-thyme potatoes, and that ridiculous kale salad Sierra once claimed made me look domestic in a cute Pinterest way. I played my part like I always did. Apron on, glass of wine in hand, smiling while Sierra scrolled TikTok on my couch, feet on the throw pillows I'd bought on clearance last Christmas. My phone buzzed. It was Mom, FaceTiming from her bedroom. She looked just tired enough to pass for fragile, even though I'd seen her walk 5 miles around an outlet mall in heels just last week. "Sweetheart," she sighed, "I'm so sorry to ask, but your father's car payment bounced again. Could you?" "I already took care of it," I said smoothly. "It's all set." "Oh, you're such a blessing," she cooed. eyes glancing sideways, probably to see if Dad was impressed. "We don't know what we'd do without you." I smiled through the screen. "You'd figure it out, I'm sure." Later that night, while Sierra was showering in my bathroom, using my shampoo, my razor, and leaving her clothes in a pile like I was her maid, I opened my laptop. I drafted 3 emails. One to my accountant, titled, "Change of Disbursement, Immediate Effect." One to my lawyer, Mr. Kaplan, who'd once helped me write a tenant dispute letter when my landlord tried to raise rent illegally. I asked if he handled family financial matters. And one to my building's security manager, requesting a copy of visitor logs for the past 6 months. Paranoia? Maybe. Or maybe I was finally done ignoring the signs I'd trained myself to excuse. The next morning, I went about my routine. Coffee, emails, work. I acted normal. Too normal, even. I let Sierra keep using my streaming accounts. I ordered her a brunch delivery when she said she was too tired to cook. I Venmo'd Mom her usual grocery top-off, all while the paperwork started moving in the background. Mr. Kaplan responded first. "I remember you well, Miss Vale. Yes, I take family finance cases. I'd be happy to review what you have. Bring everything you can. Screenshots, transfers, check stubs. The more the better." I read the message twice and felt something shift in my chest. Not revenge. Not yet. But something sharper than survival. Intention. The truth was, I had the receipts. Literally. I'd kept records, not out of suspicion, but because I'm a numbers person. It's what I do. Internal audit, budget optimization, resource tracking. I'd filed every transfer, every invoice, every receipt they'd ever asked me to cover in a neatly organized folder labeled Family Support Docs. It wasn't for them. It was for me. For years, I believed I was keeping track so I could remind myself I was useful. Now I saw it differently. I'd been compiling evidence without realizing it. That weekend, I printed everything, pages and pages. $82 for ink and paper at Staples. Worth it. By Sunday, I had a binder 2 inches thick, labeled, indexed, tabbed, color-coded. I dropped it in my tote, zipped it shut, and poured myself another cup of coffee. They still didn't know. They were still sending thank you texts, still joking behind my back, still treating me like the reliable background character in their glamorized, chaotic lives. Let them. They were about to learn something about background characters. Sometimes, we're the ones who hold the power to shut down the entire scene. Monday morning was quiet. Too quiet. No calls from Mom asking if I could check her pharmacy app. No text from Sierra about emergency Uber rides. No missed calls from Dad guilt-tripping me with phrases like, "Family pulls together, Rowena." Just the low hum of my fridge and the soft click of my laptop keys. At 9:04 a.m., I sent one final email. Subject line, "Immediate freeze. All linked transfers." Recipient, my bank. Instruction, lock every joint account, suspend all auto payments connected to my name, revoke permissions for external users, namely my parents and sister. By 9:11 a.m., it was done. It wasn't flashy. There was no thunderclap, no dramatic music, just a click, a decision, the sound of a woman closing the door they never imagined she could. I turned my phone off and went for a walk, not to escape, but to breathe. The air was crisp. Fall was settling in. I passed the boutique where Mom had accidentally used my card to buy a designer coat she still swore was on clearance. Walked by the coffee shop where Sierra once threw a tantrum because I ordered her latte with 2% instead of oat milk. Every step reminded me how many pieces of myself I'd handed over without protest. But now, I was walking in the opposite direction. That night, I made no dinner. I answered no calls. I opened a bottle of red and sat at my desk with nothing but silence and the steady blink of my email inbox. At 10:32 p.m., the first voicemail landed. Sierra. "Rowena, what the hell? My card got declined at Zara. You said you'd cover that balance. Dad's car payment bounced, and Mom's prescription didn't go through. Are you messing with the accounts? Call me, now." Then a text from Mom. "Sweetheart, there seems to be a mistake at the bank. Your father's account shows 0. Please fix this before dinner tomorrow." Then a call from Dad. Didn't answer. I let the flood come. One voicemail after another. Guilt, accusations. Whiplash swings between "we love you" and "you're being irrational." They thought this was just another of my quiet spells, some dramatic phase I'd snap out of. I didn't. Instead, I poured another glass of wine and opened the fam group chat. It was lighting up like a Christmas tree. Sierra. Did she see the chat? OMG. Mom. Lena, call me. This is childish. Dad. I swear to God, Rowena, you better fix this. Callie. It was just jokes. Don't be so emotional. Sierra. You always make everything about you. I stared at each message as it came in. For years, I would have spiraled, would have cried, apologized, maybe even sent money just to restore the illusion of peace. But not this time. This time, I typed a single sentence. I know everything. Then I left the chat. No dramatic exit. No last word monologue. Just clarity. Just power. They could scream into the void all they wanted. I wasn't in it anymore. But I wasn't done. That was just the crack in the dam. What came next would be the flood. The next morning, I packed the binder. The one with 5 years' worth of receipts, transfers, invoices, and annotated notes. I added one more document. A breakdown of contributions per person. $112,438.17. Neatly calculated, categorized, dated. Then I drove to the house I helped keep from foreclosure twice. My childhood home, the one where I used to sleep on a pull-out couch during holidays because Sierra needed her own space. The one with the crooked shutters and chipped paint my dad swore he'd fix every summer but never did. I used the spare key still hidden in the same fake rock by the steps. Walked in like I used to, like it was still mine, because in some ways, it always had been. I laid the binder open on the dining table, the same table where Mom once served me microwaved peas while Sierra got steak. Next to it, I taped a note to the wall. Nothing angry, no curses, just this. I was your backbone, now stand on your own. Then I left. By evening, my phone showed 46 missed calls. The last voicemail was from Mom. Her voice cracked, low and breathy, the kind she used to sound sympathetic even when she was scheming. Rowena, please. We didn't mean those things. You know how families joke. You're taking it too far. You're hurting everyone. I deleted it without listening to the end. They weren't sorry for what they did, just sorry they got caught. And then came the knock. Not a text, not a call, a knock. I opened the door and found Sierra standing there, makeup smudged, her designer hoodie wrinkled, nails chipped. She looked like someone who'd been yelling into a void and realized it wasn't echoing back. I just want to talk, she said, folding her arms tight against herself. Can I come in? No. She blinked, as if the idea of rejection had never occurred to her. Ro, come on. You saw the chat. You took it the wrong way. We were just messing around. Family's joke. That joke cost me my savings, I said, calm as glass. Oh, come on. You're acting like we're monsters. No, I said again. You loved what I did for you. That's not the same as loving me. She scoffed, arms tightening. Fine, be dramatic. You always were. But you'll come around. You always do. I smiled. Not this time. And I shut the door. That afternoon, I returned to Mr. Kaplan's office. He had the civil complaint packet ready. This outlines every documented instance of financial exploitation, he said. We can file immediately, or simply send it as a warning. I didn't even pause. Send it. He nodded. To all parties? To everyone. No more whispers. I want them to see every dollar. The next day, each family member received a package by courier. Mom, Dad, Sierra, Callie. Inside was a full breakdown of what they'd taken and a warning. Further attempts to manipulate, harass, or defame me would result in legal action. I expected silence. Instead, I got a visit at the grocery store. Callie. She walked up like nothing had happened. Oversized sunglasses, fake smile, a little gift bag in her hand. "Hey! Thought I'd catch you here." I said nothing. She handed me the bag. Just wanted to say sorry. That chat, it was out of line. I feel awful. Inside, a candle and a $10 Starbucks gift card. I stared at it, then looked her in the eye. "Do you think $10 covers 5 years of being used?" Her smile cracked. "You don't have to be bitter." Bitter? I raised my voice just enough for the man behind me to glance over. Bitter was me skipping meals so you could go on girls' trips. Bitter was paying your bail after that DUI you swore didn't happen. I dropped the gift bag on the nearest shelf and walked away. By the time I got home, the rumors had already begun. Rowena's cold. Rowena's turned on the family. Rowena's lost her mind. No, I'd found it, and they hated that more than anything. After Callie's pathetic gift bag and the family's escalating rumors, I realized something. They still thought this was private, contained. Something they could spin into a story where I was the villain, cold, ungrateful, too emotional, so I made it public. I wrote a piece for Modern Daughters, a raw, unfiltered blog for women navigating toxic families and false obligations. The title, The Doormat Diaries, How My Family Spent Me. I didn't name names, but I didn't hide the truth. I described the manipulation, the secret group chat, the money I'd handed over for years, the loneliness of always being the one who holds everyone up, and the shame of finally setting it down. It went viral. Hundreds of comments, then thousands. I thought I was the only one. This is my story too. You're not bitter, you're brave. Women wrote about paying their brother's rent for years, only to be left out of their weddings. Daughters who paid for their mother's medical bills and were still told they were selfish. Nannies to their own bloodlines. Ghosts in their own homes. Then came the podcast offer. A producer from New York reached out. The writing's powerful, but your voice? Your voice could change people. I said yes. I recorded the episode under my real name. No aliases, no protective shell. Just me, sitting in a small studio, telling the world what I'd spent a lifetime hiding. It aired on a Thursday. By Saturday, it had 2 million downloads. And for the first time, my story wasn't a secret. It was a mirror, held up for thousands who needed to hear it. I wasn't crying in my kitchen anymore. I was being heard, clearly, by people who saw through the pretty masks and polite betrayals. The family didn't take it well. Sierra left a voicemail, her voice sugar-drenched. "Ro, you aired our private business? Do you feel proud now?" Dad sent a text. "You made yourself look weak. Strangers don't forgive like family does." Mom emailed me a 4-paragraph sermon on forgiveness and how blood is thicker. But it was too late. Their grip was gone. 3 days later, Kaplan called. "You're going to want to hear this," he said. They'd withdrawn the lawsuit. Yes, lawsuit. They'd actually tried to file one. Claimed I borrowed from the family over the years. Furniture, food, utilities from when I lived at home in college. They'd sent a number. $31,042.88. I laughed when I saw it. Kaplan didn't. "This was meant to bait you, to flip the narrative, to make you look petty." They failed. 2 weeks later, I moved into a smaller apartment. Clean, quiet, just mine. No spare keys under fake rocks. No texts asking for a quick favor. Just peace. Earned peace. I painted the walls myself. Bought cheap furniture that matched, lit candles that smelled like cedar and freedom, and for the first time in years, I slept through the night. One afternoon, I heard a knock. Sierra. No makeup, no curated pose. She looked human. She held out a folded letter. "Please," she said, "just read it." I took it, closed the door, never opened it. Weeks passed. I started volunteering at community centers, teaching financial literacy to women like me. Women who gave until they were empty. Who needed to hear, maybe for the first time, that saying no doesn't make you unloving. It makes you free. One chilly Sunday, I walked past a cafe window. Inside, I saw them. Mom, Dad, Sierra. Laughing. They looked older, smaller, like people who'd lost something they didn't even know they'd relied on. For a second, I felt the ache again. That ache that used to follow me home, whispering maybe they'd change. Maybe they'd notice what it cost me to stay. But they never did. And I didn't need them to. I watched for a moment. Just a moment. Then I kept walking. Not out of anger, but because I didn't need to look back anymore.